And he's getting some more gates and a robo. So this could be some blink pressure here, or maybe an all-in. We'll have to see what he opts to go for here. He could also... I guess I'm never sure like what Protoss does for macro. I normally don't have vision of the Protoss base at this stage of the game. Normally, like, I only see what happens like when the drop comes in. So third base going down from White Shadows. So medevac drop will head out here. And it looks like these stalkers are gonna just be a bit proactive out here. I don't know if White Shadow's seen that medevac leaving, but stalkers are in a good position here to deal with that. Of course, most common routes are probably going to be like up at the top for the main and at for the bottom. Looks like they might just barely miss that here if that medevac goes around. Oh, no, they will just catch it. And they do have blink, so they can jump right on top of this. Oh, just gets it all. And that's really big. That means that Microbe isn't going to have scouting information. He had to scan to see if there's even a third base in the map. And that's super bad. He has a siege tank coming out here as well as a Raven, so he's going to be pretty safe as he goes for a 1-1-1 into a third CC. So we're not going to see a typical timing here. And I think his choice of build is pretty good, as we did see White Shadows opting for a Robo. And generally I think third CCs do pretty well when your opponent opens with a Robo. Yeah, especially like going into Colossus here, I imagine, or Disruptors. Either way, you're going to need a decent economy to be able to fight that. Vikings cost a lot of money, or, you know, just mass bio to deal with the Disruptors also cost a lot of money. White Shadow's being really proactive here with these Stalkers, going to pick off that Raven, and that Raven really got nothing done this game. A bit ballsy of Microbe to send that out. I feel like keeping that Raven alive at home is a lot better than trying to seek out observers in the middle of the map. And to only bring one Marine if it too seems kind of weird. Now this observer's going to come in here and get full vision of everything Microbe is doing. He'll see the third CC, he'll see tanks are on the way. Fifth barracks coming down here. Double upgrades are on the way. Wooded Microbe's looking like he's in a pretty good spot here, especially because I don't believe White Shadows has been chrono boosting his Nexus here, so he doesn't have. He's been chrono boosting some of them. This one's been left out. And 5 probes going down to these Stalkers. Microbe going in to take his third base now. Charge on the way here, +1, and Colossus range. So White Shadow's looking pretty good in this game too, I feel. Like, I don't think either player is really at a distinct advantage. I think the Terran's okay as long as they're going siege tanks like this. I kind of hope we either see, like, 3-factory siege tank, or he stops making and gets down to second starport. Bit of a nasty supply block here for him as well. Because siege tanks don't do terribly bad versus Colossus, and both these players' upgrades are all coming in at the exact same time. How far can this thing go? I wonder if you could, like, stretch the screen with upgrades if you researched everything at the same time. Fourth base coming down here from White Shadows, and we look like it looks like we will have Liberators on the way, and that factory moving off to build a reactor. Probably going to be some Widow Mines coming out of that. White Shadows has been really proactive with these Stalkers, and I think it's been very good for him in this game, especially because we've seen Wooded Microbe so defensive. Like, I feel like at this stage of the game, Wooded Microbe really doesn't know what's going on. Like, if we go to his vision, that's White Shadow's vision. Like, he has absolutely no clue what White Shadows is doing. I guess he's seen the Twilight Council earlier, if he even clicked on that. But he doesn't know there's Colossus on the way. For all he knows, like, his opponent is going mass carriers or like has storm, and that means whatever tech option that Microbe goes for in this late game is going to be a bit either generic or uninformed. Dark Shrine on the way. I think that's a bit greedy at this stage of the game. First drop of the game here coming out here for Microbe though. It's going to pick off quite a few probes. And White Shadow is not in position to deal with this. He doesn't really have a very strong spread of observers. So it looks like Microbe should be able to abuse this if he feels like White Shadow's getting those stalkers in position though. Liberator's coming into the natural and the main. This is some really nice shift clicking here. Another drop coming in here. So Microbe really in a groove at this point in time. Like he's just dropping all over the place. But it looks like White Shadows is going to try to go for the attack here. I think this will hopefully play into, hopefully for Microbe rather, into his favor. And getting that Warp Prism picked off is pretty bad news for him. This position is going to be really good with these supply depots and the Widow Mines. He doesn't really have a whole lot to deal with the Colossus though, which is going to be a problem. This is a lot of gateway units here, but they are going into a choke. Disruptor gets picked off. Nice targeting there by Microbe. But these Colossus are pretty scary. Force fields going down. SCVs are going to be pulled. Looks like he will pick off one of the Colossus. A bit of mispositioning here from White Shadows. But the rest of his army stands strong. There's still a couple Little Mines here, but they're going to go off on some Zealots. And he has killed the third base. Microbe is going to try to deal some counter damage here, but I think with some Warpins back at home, White Shadow should be fine, but he's lost an incredible amount of probes. Every probe at the natural has gone down, third and the fourth, so he actually doesn't have enough to warp in. These units across the map are going to have to finish the game for him. If he can get on top of production, though, it is possible that he can just snowball this fast enough, well enough that it doesn't matter if he can produce anything back at home. This is an insanely close game, actually. Both players have extremely low unit counts here, but Microbe is going to be able to produce for quite a while. He has quite a lot of resources here, so even if he takes extremely bad fights, I think it is possible for him to survive. Need to see some Marauders, though. Sending Marines from these barracks. This is a lot of Stalkers, though. He has a good chunk of bio here. And they have good upgrades. 2-2 versus White Shadow's just 2-0. So, some good Blink Stalker micro. White Shadows can get a lot of value. But, oh, and there's DTs actually, so never mind. Yeah, that's GG for Microbe. Well, game 1 going to White Shadows. That was a very close game. But White Shadow's attack just hitting at the right time. Microbe really didn't have enough defensively at home to deal with that. I feel like he was just a bit underprepared there. If maybe he had some Vikings or some Liberators back at home, like he could have held that a lot easier, but just was unable to hold the push from White Shadows. This Colossus doing quite a good job. Just waiting for our players to get in our second match here. Looks like Pure Legacy has already advanced versus his opponent. What a god. And Pure Legacy will actually be playing the winner of this match. This tournament actually has a very good chance of having the Pure Legacy Starkillers finals. I don't really see any other player that I think could beat them. Unless White Shadows has some super sick PvT cheese that he can pull off. Alright, so we're going to enter our next game here very short. Alright, so spawning up here in the top left in the red, the winner from our last game. It is White Shadows. Down the bottom right, we have in blue. It's our Terran player from Alpha X. It is Wooded Microbe. And similar start from the last game. Nothing too crazy here. It's definitely going to be upsetting for Microbe losing that last game, because I feel like his harass did so much damage that, like, if he had just been able to hold just barely back at home, he would have been in a great spot. But just White Shadow is able to steamroll that army and keep the momentum going up into Microbe's main. And of course, when you camp the barracks, you just don't really have time to get ready. Nexus coming down back at home. Actually going for Nexus before core. Just a bit more macro oriented here. And Microbe himself is going to be going for that expand. This probe is just going to be really annoying here. He actually might get the SCV here. Oh no, just barely. Yikes. And Microbe is Finnish, I believe, so here, like, White Shadows really doesn't have an excuse here. Microbe had the ping disadvantage, and he still won the worker battle. Really sloppy worker control here from White Shadows. You hate to see it. This Reaper will come up here. An Adept is almost out. Twilight Council on the way here. So I'll have to see what Microbe decides to do here. I feel like he's kind of... Oh, never mind. White Shadow's just going to teleport back. So he will actually get a skid off, which is going to be good. We'll see that's the Twilight Council. We'll have to see how Microbe opts to open up. We'll lose the Reaper, which is nice for White Shadows. Especially like keeping that Reaper alive can be really nice for the Terran player going into that mid game. It can be just used as a nice way to distract your opponent, especially when that Widowmine drop comes in. You just send the Reaper into the natural and shift Q like 2 probes or something, and then you drop the Widowmine in. It can be a nice way to move your opponent's screen. And a Widowmine drop coming out again here from Microbe. We'll have to see if he decides to go for a 3rd CC this time or not. Oh no, that actually does get a skid off in the main. He will move into the main. Probably gonna have to sacrifice this Adept. It looks like Microbe is going to be going for a 3rd CC this game. He's banking up a lot of resources. So I can't imagine that he's going for the extra racks. And I mean, this is definitely a fine way to play. I think versus the opening that White Shadows goes for, it's perfectly fine. Oh, never mind. I think this is going to be bad news bears for him, because that's a lot of gateways. If this Widowmine drop gets sniped again, that's going to be super shitty for Wooded Microbe. He's not going to be able to see what's going on here. And this is probably going to be like some sort of mass gateway in our line with a Warp Prism here. He's getting some results there. Does he have, let's see. Oh, he has charge. So it's going to be a charge all in. And he's actually possibly given the game away here. All the gateways are seen. Like, there's no third base in sight. Protoss probably should have gotten it pretty, you know, roughly in this time. And he sees some Zealots zooming across the map, so I think he knows what's up. This definitely can be dealt with. He has a siege tank coming out here, bunkers on the way of some Marines. Those are, of course, really good versus Zealots. But he doesn't have that extra production he would have gotten from having, like, those additional racks. But the fact that this is a charge all-in and not a blink all-in is actually going to, I think, bite White Shadows in the ass quite a bit here. Especially because his opponent has been smart enough to make a wall here. Walls and bunkers, this is going to be pretty hard to break. He's going to have to move in on top of this. Auto turret does go down, but these Zealots are not really being that cost efficient here. These bunkers are getting quite a lot of kills onto these stalkers. Marines are up in the main here too. Even if he takes down these bunkers, there's still more in the main. That War Prism is extremely low health. Auto turret does take out the War Prism finally. That means no more reinforcements for this fight. And all of White Shadow's Zealots are being killed by this bunker here, not able to take it down. And his opponent with a third CC behind us, he's going to be in a great spot. He might have lost some SCVs with this, but he's still actually ahead on SCVs to White Shadows. And with a build like this, there's really no follow-up. Like, White Shadows has been mining so little gas, he can't afford to build any high-tech units. Like, he just will have such a hard time defending himself versus drops. You know, like, his opponent can just zoom around with medevacs and crap all day. And it looks like White Shadows is going for his only real option here, which is try again. But, like, this is just, you know, White Shadows attack the first time, but crappier, because there's 2 tanks now, and 2 bunkers, and a bunch of Marines, and Ravens. So, Zealots are going to get dropped on top of these tanks. It's a bit different from the last time. But still, 2 bunkers here, like, plus Marines from the main. Like, I think the only way this worked would have been if White Shadows were able to jump into the main. He's being pretty cost efficient versus these Marines, though. There's still 8 Marines in this bunker. And, of course, there's no barracks in the main. Or not barracks, sorry. There's a lot of barracks in the main. There's no bunkers in the main. And with constant warp-ins of Zealots here, somehow White Shadows is able to pull this off, even though I was just talking about how this would never work. Yeah, I guess I don't really know anything. Okay, so I guess Wooded Micro just not prepared enough to deal with that. Those come down, and that's gonna be it. Damn. White Shadow's really surprising me here. I did not expect that second all-in to work. Like... Wow. What a game. So I guess we'll head into White Shadows versus Pure Legacy next. Alright, so we're loading up into Pure Legacy versus White Shadows right now. Can White Shadows pull this off? Pure Legacy is a very strong player. Oops. Alright, so spawn down here in the bottom right, in the orange, it is Pure Legacy. And top left, we have in the blue, it is White Shadows. And I have that bug because I didn't change my hybrid settings the right way. So we just have Valleys of Blood on this map now. I think it makes it look more epic, you know, like it's like, wow, like this map's really hardcore. A lot of people probably died here. Like someone probably lost like a doom drop coming over this ramp. White Shadows is actually going to wall in on the low ground. I'm not sure if this is common on this map or what the reason is. Maybe it's going to be for some cool like early pressure build here. Maybe it gets the unit out faster to your opponent's side of the map. Both players sending a scout across you. Nothing too crazy going on. And it's gate or sorry, core before the Nexus goes down here. And Pure Legacy responds to this by putting the CC on the high ground. It's not a bad response, I think. Especially, I feel like if you're Pure Legacy in this situation, like he probably knows a bit about White Shadows. Like I imagine he's probably played him once or twice. And White Shadows, of course, known to do a lot of like 2-base all-ins and stuff like that. So he's probably just being safe. We'll have to see what White Shadows goes for this game. He's going for a Robo first. Pure Legacy will get a perfect scout off of this, actually. And that Stalker just on its way now. Did he get the Robo before he even got the unit? I feel like this Robo is super fast. Especially for a Cyber first. Am I getting shitty ping to Eastern? So Pure Legacy actually being very safe with this build. Just opting for a siege tank right away. Starport coming up a bit later actually, so he delays his starport to go for the tank. So if White Shadows has anything nefarious here planned, like this looks like it's going to be a disruptor drop, he could get shut down very hard by this style from Pure Legacy. You know, if you have a disruptor drop and your opponent just has like, you know, a siege tank by each base, I feel like that really limits the potential of the disruptor drop. Looks like it's actually going to send a War Prism across with some stalkers to do some pressure first. But with a bunker up and a siege tank out, I feel like White Shadows might be hard pressed to find some damage here. And behind this, I imagine it's going to be disruptors unless he goes for like some sort of 2-base Colossus timing. Yeah, disruptors on the way. Pure Legacy he's sending out an SCV, or not an SCV, sorry, that's a Marine, to do some scouting. Meanwhile, White Shadow's actually going to hop up into the main here and actually try to get right on top of this tank, but there's another one on the low ground. So White Shadows actually picks off the tank pretty nicely. I think he took minimal health damage on those stalkers. So that's pretty cool. He's actually going to recall that Prism, probably going to swap those units out. And he has two oh, he's actually going for 2 factories? What the hell? So he's going for mech versus versus White Shadows. That's interesting. More prism speed on the way and a lot of gateways. So this observer does actually scout that this mech. I wonder if him going mech is going to affect this game like substantially. I feel like it might take a bit to get like the mech versus Protoss ball kind of rolling, and it's very possible that White Shadows does something a bit aggressive here and just kind of like knocks out Pure Legacy. Pure Legacy has a lot of, oops, sorry about that. Pure Legacy has a lot of tanks. Looks like, and a Viking out here. With some good positioning, Pure Legacy can really negate any damage from this Disruptor drop. 5 factories on the way. Or in total here, rather. Not on the way. And White Shadows kind of looks like he's going back into a macro game. A bit of an aggressive opening here, but not an all-in by any means. And actually, he loses the Prism, but only 3 SCV kills? Like, that's a lot of his early game, like, kind of like economic opportunity gone. Like, he sacrificed a 3rd CC being out sooner, or Nexus rather, to go for this. And to lose it like that, I feel like, is really bad. Like, especially when you get Warp Prism speed as well. Like, I don't think there's any excuse to lose that. And that means Pure Legacy is going to feel so much more secure. He's killed that Prism. He knows the Disruptor is dead. He doesn't have to worry about watching the minimap constantly for, you know, a Warp Prism heading up into his main. And he can focus on other stuff right now. Somehow, Hellion's actually getting up into the main. Might get some probe kills. Looks like just going to be 1. Some more Hellions coming in. And this looks like a stage of the game where Pure Legacy's probably just going to send Hellions constantly over towards the White Shadow side of the map as he gets himself set up here. No upgrades on the way for Pure Legacy just yet. No armories in sight. 8 probes going down from those Hellions. 9 in total. Oh, White Shadows, no! That's a really good for Pure Legacy. He's keeping the worker count of White Shadows really low, and even though White Shadows has even a 4th base right now, it doesn't really matter because his income is just not going to be what Pure Legacy's is, and I don't think he's going to really be able to afford to match Pure Legacy's army going into the mid game. He's going to have to focus his chrono boosts all on getting out more probes to get his economy back to where he needs it to be, and that's of course not going to be used on these robos to get out more of the units that he needs to get out. Even this auto turret harassment very strong as well. More Hellions coming into the 3rd base. Pure Legacy is just tearing White Shadows apart. And that Raven is still live, which is going to be super annoying here for White Shadows. Anytime White Shadows is busy doing something else, that Raven can come in and pick off some probes, and that's going to be really annoying for him there. It also gets off, you know, a full scout of the main. He sees, okay, my opponent's on 1 forge. He has a Templar archives. I think he's seen the robos at the 3rd base here. He knows it's going to be a lot of Archons and Immortals, so he knows what to expect here. He knows it's not going to be air. Hellion's coming in at the 4th base as well. White Shadow's actually supply blocked as well. Just so much going on here. I think it's really hard for White Shadows to handle all of this right now. Just constant multitasking here from Pure Legacy. Stuff going on all over the place. These Hellions just zooming on by. White Shadows has a pretty strong composition here, but it's so immobile. And these Hellions are just going to continue to tear him apart. And meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Pure Legacy has barely been touched at all. His army's pretty powerful right now. He has a lot of factories here. He's getting out a fusion core as well. Double upgrades on the way finally. His army is just looking really powerful here. A lot of siege tanks. And especially like when you're playing mech and TVP like this, I think one of the key issues that a mech player would have is dealing with floods of charged lots once their Hellbats are dead. Especially when you're fighting like a prolonged fight. Maybe you have one engagement and you know, you trade some blows. A lot of your Hellbats are going to be the first ones to die. And if the Protoss has a good economy, they can warp in a large amount of Zealots and just completely ruin your day. But White Shadows doesn't have this. He doesn't have the ability, he doesn't have the economy to be able to reinforce. And here we have a huge fight going on here, and no Zealots here to support this army, and these siege tanks are just going to completely destroy everything, all being able to get off shots on very expensive and powerful units. And that's going to be it for game number 1. Pure Legacy just taking out White Shadows of solid multitasking and consistent macro for that entire game. White Shadows just unable to handle the constant aggression here. So we're going to see what game number 2 has for us. Alright, I forgot to bring up our loading thing. Alright, sorry about that. Alright, so spun down here in the bottom right, we have in the orange. It's our Terran player, Pure Legacy. And up in the bottom left, or bottom left, Jesus Christ, top left, we have in the red, it is White Shadows. And it looks like a Nexus or Gateway expand here. Pure Legacy does see everything that's gone on so far. It's just looking pretty standard. Doesn't really have to worry. In this game, White Shadow's Probe is actually going to survive here for a bit. Looks like he's going in right after that Reaper heads out. And Pure Legacy actually does bring that Reaper home, which is kind of annoying here for him. It means that the scout is going to get delayed a bit. And this Adept will meet him in the middle of the map. I'm not quite... Oh, he's a Stalker on the... It's almost here. This can still be pretty annoying here. I feel like this Reaper could actually get like 2 or 3 pro kills. Blink's being chronoed this game. And really, like, at this stage of the game, losing so many probes is obviously, like, you know, not very cool. This Adept is going to get pinned in here, up against the wire here. So SCV is not getting killed. Reaper will go down. I don't believe Pure... Okay, Pure Legacy's seen everything he needs to see. He sees the Twilight Council. He knows it's probably going to be like a gateway style to start. He's actually going for a 3 racks. I was not paying attention at all. So we'll have to see how this plays out. Pure Legacy is like really good with these types of builds. Like generally his macro is just like on point, and he just knows kind of like when to go in and when to stay home. That I think he should be able to head in here and do a lot of damage to White Shadows if White Shadows isn't expecting this, because I don't know what White Shadows hasn't really seen anything. He might be a bit off-put by the fact that there's no like factory or starport there, but like he doesn't know anything over here, of course. So there's enough reasonable doubt. And even if this attack is preempted here by White Shadows, I think Pure Legacy is in a fine state. White Shadows lost a couple probes at the start. He's been supply blocked a couple times here actually, so his probe production really isn't what it could be. And this is going to look like a pretty powerful push here from Pure Legacy. He's got a lot of Marauders. Does he have Concussive Shell? He does have Concussive Shell. No, Comet Shields is on the way, but it's going to be ways off. I think this is probably going to hit, what, like 630 or something? Maybe a bit sooner. He has +1 done, doesn't he? Yeah. He might wait for the Combat Shields, I'm not sure. But like, especially Stalkers can help deal with these pushes. White Shadows, of course, has a lot of Blink Stalkers here. Why is White Shadows talking shit? Marine actually coming and getting a few kills here. Very valuable Marine. If White Shadows blinks up in here, he's gonna get fucked. The Stalker army can be pretty strong. Just picks off that Observer. White Shadows, of course, should know that this is 3 racks here. Even going up to 5 racks before that tier 2C. So this is gonna be a pretty strong push here when it does come out. And White Shadows is gonna need a lot of Blink Stalkers to deal with this. I think he just needs to be a bit patient here. Like that Blink wore off and Pure Legacy just jumps in, picks off a couple more Stalkers. He does stim a decent amount of his army for those. I feel like you only really need to stim the like one Marauder. Oh damn. Yeah, White Shadows just sees the writing on the wall, I guess. There's too many units there. Alright, so it looks like we're going into Center versus Pure Legacy. That's our next game, hopefully. GG's from White Shadows. Alright, so let's look at our bracket here. Looks like we got Eggs versus Omega Star. I believe I can't remember who that person said they were, or if they were just memeing. Marsman looks like he didn't show up. So we got Sinners versus... Or Sinner versus Pure Legacy now. And then, of course, Starkiller. So some guy beat Mapazy, whoever that is, Shalco. And then Shalco didn't show up versus Starkiller. Maybe he just surrendered, I don't know. I feel like since then are just videoing now, I believe. I know of Sinner, but I can't say I've ever seen Sinner play. Is he a Terran main? Or what is he main? Yeah, he's a Terran. Cool, cool. Alright, so we're getting into this. And he is a Terran. Alright, so spawning down here in the bottom left, we have in the orange, it is Pure Legacy. And up here in the top in the blue, we have our Terran player from Alpha X, it is Sinner. We'll have to see what openings these players go for. I know Pure Legacy has a lot of pretty, I guess, like, unique TVT builds. Like, I think he's kind of set the standard in NA as far as, like, TVT goes. I know he did a lot of stuff early on with Hellions. He does a lot of, like, one gas expands. Stuff that it isn't as, or, like, wasn't as common before he started doing them, just because he showed a lot of people on NA how you can do these builds and still be safe, because previously, like, it had just been that double gas meta for so long. But I think a lot of people in NA, especially Terrans, like, look at what Pure Legacy does, because Pure Legacy doesn't play flashy in any way, really. Like, his builds are all, like, just really solid, and he has good mechanics. I looks like both players are actually just going for this wait, never mind, sorry. Sinner is going for a 2-gas build here. Gotta get that factory. Versus the 1-Rax expand here for Pure Legacy. So skipping the CC on the high ground, which I think is a safe move. If your opponent sends these Reapers across the map, like as soon as the game starts, it can be difficult to hold them with your, like, I guess, more limited production of Reapers, especially when those Hellions come out to assist them. Sinner's Reaper heading across the map now. And Pure Legacy even going for a reactor. off the bat. Very ballsy. If he loses this Reaper, this is going to be really annoying for him. Oh, this match... Oh, and Pure Legacy gets the advantage. Sinner just move commanded when he should have attack moved. Unfortunate for him. Pure Legacy wins a pretty important duel, actually, for the build he's going for. Like, if he were to lose that Reaper there, it's not game-ending, but it's still really annoying. You know, you lose 1 or 2 SCVs, your CC gets a bit delayed, and then, like, the follow-up can be even stronger as well. It's going to be a lot harder for him to take the low ground, but with the way he won that duel, he was able to go across the map and actually threaten to punish this CC from Sinner. And behind this, he's going to be fine now. He has his Hellions coming out. Starport is on the way. And Sinner's going to kind of need to stay home a bit here. I don't think Sinner can really contest for map control now, because if he sends these Reapers and his Hellion out in the map, they're just going to get destroyed by these Hellions here from Pure Legacy. I'm not sure if Sinner knows this is how Pure Legacy plays, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was aware. Probably see Pure Legacy going to mech after this. He's very well known for his mech play. Does a lot of just kind of like super simple stuff with basically just going for only tanks and Vikings. And he can hold off a lot with those units. Like, they're, of course, very good units if used correctly, but a lot of players not necessarily playing that same style. Third CC on the way here for Sinner. Actually going to be a bit faster than Pure Legacies. But overall, Pure Legacies definitely has had the more advantageous start here. It's up 5 workers. There's 6 now. And that lead's going to be cemented even more here. Workers were not pulled quick enough, and these Hellions are going to be able to get some really nice shots off on a lot of these units. I don't even know where Sinner's army is here. CC is going to possibly get delayed here. But 2 Cyclones should be able to clean this up. But 9 worker kills is really insane at this stage of the game. This is almost game-ending damage, I feel. Especially because Sinner did not go for the economic start. He went for the safe build, but it wasn't safe. He did not protect himself there. Meanwhile, Pure Legacy is cemented here, with Vikings being produced 2 at a time here and 1 tank. His third CC is finished before Sinner's is... Or no, actually, it was finished a bit after. And I'm not quite sure about this 3 Cyclone opening here from Sinner. This looks actually to be somewhat strong. Like, he's able to pick off a lot of these Vikings. Guess we'll see how Sinner continues to use these. If he can keep a good amount of awareness here. Oh, Vikings actually land in the main, force a pull here. And they should be able to... if he kept them on the ground, I feel like he could have traded it well, like 2 for 2. But now Pure Legacy is going to be able to repair these. I guess maybe he just wanted to delay as long as he could, so he could keep this third base from landing as long as he can. Sinner's slowly climbing his worker count back to a normal spot. He's not as far behind as he was. He's going mech as well. So it's going to be a race for the air control here. And these Cyclones can be, I think, pretty instrumental in cementing that. If these Cyclones are able to pick off, you know, maybe 3 more Vikings as they try to make their way across the map, I think we could really see the air battle really shift into Sinner's favor. Scan comes down at the 3rd. This is going to be a tough game for Sinner. I think this is going to be a long one. Especially just like the position he's in. He's down on upgrades. He's down on production. He's going to be down on bases. Pure Legacies is finishing before his. So he doesn't have any advantage to push here. So he needs to wait this game out as long as he can till they hit a conversion, like, you know, point of equality or whatever you want to say. Like, you know, a point where they're both maxed. Time has gone on long enough. Their upgrades are similar. The Viking count for both these players is extremely even here. Actually going to pick off that barracks. That's pretty annoying if you're pure Legacy, means you gotta waste 150 minerals building a new one. Luckily, I think Pure Legacy has all the factories he needs up for the time being. So it's not going to be too huge of an issue. I have no clue what Sinner is saying here. Yeah, and Pure Legacy's economy is just looking like it's in really good shape here. He's already at that kind of ideal worker count you want to be at when you're playing mech. Around like 80, high 70s is kind of where you want to end up. Couple Hellions here from Pure Legacy. Sinner's actually taking a pretty greedy route here, and getting this base as a orbital, I feel like, especially this one, is pretty greedy. Because these two bases here control a lot of the flow towards your base. So like, I feel like these bases benefit a lot from being fortified. You know, this one not as much. Just because like this one, I don't know. I don't really think this one matters as much to be a PF. But definitely the top one, like if you lose this high ground, you lose not only this base, but the one below it. And then it of course gives you an opportunity to kind of move in towards this base. But maybe, I mean, like, I guess I don't know the thoughts going through their head. Sinner might just feel like he has to make these concessions to make up economically. This Hellion run by is pretty nice, forcing a lot of workers off the line here. And he kind of gets a visual on what Pure Legacy's army is like. He might have been able to click on some of these units. Might have seen, okay, he's got 1-1. 2-2's like almost finished, and this is going to be a scary moment here for Sinner, I believe. This could be where Pure Legacy ends the game. Sinner's expanding like crazy, though. I think he's dumping the minerals into bases as opposed to turrets or something like that. And Sinner actually has a small advantage here in terms of the Viking count, but Pure Legacy has 5 4s. And that's going to help out in the Viking war quite a bit. Like, 4s are just so good right now versus air units that the Vikings don't necessarily matter as much in the later game. The 4s can output a lot more damage. Of course, the Vikings are more mobile, but Vikings can't target 4s. And it looks like he's actually going to be forced off this high ground position here. A lot of tanks sieging up here. Sinner trying to get into a defensive position here. 4s are coming forward. They're shift queued onto these tanks. Vikings are dropping on top of everything here. Sinner looking like he will hold. He's not going to be able to hold the base, but he'll hold the position. But oh wow. Meanwhile, Hellions in the main base. I didn't even catch these. 30 workers went down in total. That's crazy. This base here is actually going to get lifted towards the corner. I think he thinks Pure Legacy might retreat for that way. Siege tanks on the low ground here are going to be able to delay this push here, killing all the 4s at the very least. But I'm not sure if Sinner has enough to take this on. Blinded Vikings on top of these is actually going to be really good, though. dealt quite a lot of damage. Army supplies are looking similar, but Sinner's SCV count has definitely dropped quite a lot. And that can be the difference in the long run, is just how much minerals you're able to mine. Huge amount of starports on the way here, lots of CCs from Pure Legacy. Big push here from Sinner. Army supplies are pretty even, but he doesn't have that many tanks, and he's attacking into a siege position here. Can Sinner come out on top in this engagement? Looks like not. So it's going to be game 1 to Pure Legacy. I think Starkiller. I don't know if they're playing their match. If they are, that's fine. Alright. So we're gonna be loading into our second match here pretty shortly. Alright, starting up here in the top left, we have in the orange, the winner of our last game, is Pure Legacy. And in the bottom right, we have our blue Terran player from Alpha X. It is Sinner. I think it's going to be tough here for Sinner to play another mech versus mech game versus Pure Legacy. Especially, like, I feel like on NA, Pure Legacy is probably, you know, the strongest mech Terran that is playing on NA right now. So it's going to be hard to play someone like that kind of at his own game. I'm interested to see what Sinner decides to do this game, if he's going to change things up at all. He's going for an SCV skirt this time, and he's not going for that second gas. So it could be opting for a more macro-focused build here. Especially because Pure Legacy isn't one to do the double gas build with Reapers and Hellions. So if you're playing versus someone like this, like you don't need to go for it yourself. It puts you behind. His SCV is scouting just to be sure though, and he will come up and see. Well, he'll see that there's a barracks there. He doesn't really see anything else, but of course he sees the SCVs coming towards here. So he gets all the info he needs. And he actually preemptively pulled an SCV down here to fight versus Pure Legacy's SCV, but there was nothing there. We have one interesting divergence here, which is Sinner's going to keep making Reapers off one base. Or not off one base, sorry, but off the one racks. Whereas Pure Legacy has opted instead to just get the reactor really quickly. And he's going to get some Hellions out. Sinner losing the Reaper duel here again. He might be able to get this back in time. Of course, if that other Reaper meets up with him, he'll be able to take that guy on. And looks like this Reaper will get cornered here. Sinner going to be able to take that out, and now he has a bit of map control here. This game, instead of the Hellions, Pure Legacy's opted for a Cyclone with the upgrade like right away, even before a starport. That's very interesting. I don't know what he's going to do with this exactly. Back at home, it looks like a pretty standard build here from Sinner. Just getting out that Cyclone and the Starport. Getting out a bunker as well. I'm not sure about that bunker. It might be for the Hellions. Which I assume like Sinner is expecting to see the Hellion build from Pure Legacy again. Of course, not going to be happening this time. And actually gets one of these Reapers into the main, which is pretty important. He's going to see that Pure Legacy has opted for a very quick 3rd CC. And I believe he also seen the 2 Cyclones. Of course, I don't think he's aware of the Cyclone upgrade here. But he is going to unwittingly kind of screw himself over a bit here. I think going for Cloak Banshees when your opponent already has 2 Cyclones out and is continuing to produce them is not going to be a great move. And looks like he actually canceled both of those, which is good. Sinner? I don't believe he has a... No, he only has 1 Cyclone of his own out. There's no tank out yet. Oh, never mind. It literally just popped on. Flippin' dumb. A bit greedy there for Pure Legacy to try to go for that. Just pick off one of the Cyclones, but we still see Cyclones on the production tab here for Pure Legacy. That could have been a really scary scenario, especially like if that tank had been at the natural, it's very likely Pure Legacy is able to snipe that. Does Sinner see that? He should. More and more Cyclones. 3 Cyclones at a time. He's playing Timor's style. And looks like he's going into Blue Flame as well, so it's kind of going to be like the same type of mech you see in TVZ, but instead he's doing it in TVT. Looks like we have a bit of a double drop here coming out here from Sinner. His stim is going to be finished by the time that hits his opponent's base. He has a couple siege tanks out, so he will be able to defend at home versus these Cyclones. I don't think they will be able to jump on these. Oops. And especially the fact that the Cyclones are across the map is going to be really good for Sinner. Means there's not going to be a whole lot at home. And, you know, if you can jump some of these bio on top of those factories, you can just kill whatever keeps coming out. And that's going to force these Cyclones to go all the way home. Those Cyclones, once they go home, should be enough to deal with that. I don't think this Bioforce really has the staying power. Got 1 tank, 2 tanks here. They will siege up Sinner. Gonna opt to try to kill some of these SCVs. I don't think he has enough bio to really hop on top of everything. But in the meanwhile, he's actually going to hit the 3rd base here with a double drop. Oh, both of those medevacs get completely cleaned up. This is really ballsy here from Sinner, I feel. He might actually be able to get the CC if he targets it down. His SCVs are ready to repair, though, it looks like. And they're actually going to try to come in here. He's going to lose a lot of them. And a lot of his mech army here as well. And I feel like overall this trade has been pretty good for Sinner. And CC's very low, is going to need to be repaired very shortly. Sinner's, of course, lost a decent amount of bio units, but I don't think that's that big of a deal. Especially for the amount of SCVs he was able to kill. If he can just keep his own production, you know, on time, hitting his production cycles, he's going to be in a pretty good spot here, and I think he can even bully Pure Legacy around a bit here. Picks off one of the Hellions, another one nearby, unaware. This map, I think, is pretty defensible for mech players, though. At least, you know, you can probably easily take like 4 or 5 bases with a good spread of tanks. No concussive shells yet. It's on the way, but And we can even see just like what that attack did to Pure Legacy's economy. We already see Sinner expanding to a 4th, where we don't even see a 4th CC started here from Pure Legacy. I don't think he can really afford to. He kind of needs to sit back, be a bit more defensive here. Even getting the fucking bunker upgrade. That's really... I can't remember the last time I've actually seen one of these bunkers in a game. That's really cool. So, Sinner's Bioforce is heading out here. It looks like he's not really going to bother trying to fight for air control. And I guess like I don't really blame him. It can be very hard to fight a mech player for that air control. Oh, leaves that for his reinforcements, I guess. I'm not sure about these drops. I don't think Pure Legacy actually has any Cyclones left, does he? No, he actually doesn't have any anti-air units. So if he were to just like pick up and drop it into main, there's actually nothing there to deal with that. But of course Sinner is unaware. He's going to wait for his other drops to come in here and hopefully just try to catch his opponent out of position a bit. There's a lot of missile turrets over here though. If this one is like just queued in to drop, Sinner is not going to have a good time. See more barracks on the production type here from Sinner. I'll link the... Sorry. And it looks like Pure Legacy's finally going to try to kind of secure his 4th base location. Center of some bio is going to be able to snipe a tank and get most of his units out. Good little trade. He hasn't really been that active with his drops, however. I think this could come to bite him a bit in the end. I feel like the ideal time to be trading your bio for these mech units is at lower supplies. Siege tank count is pretty low here for Sinner as well, so he's going to have a hard time fighting like mono-y-mono, or whatever the saying goes. This 4th phase is going to get secured by Pure Legacy here. A lot of these Hellions are going to get taken down here, and that's, you know, that's some of the beef in this fight, right? Like, they kind of need to be Hellbats to tank for these siege tanks, ironically. And a good position here from Sinner. Needs to shift target those tanks, so not able to do so. And he loses a couple of the tanks here. But Sinner actually getting a huge Doom drop off. There is units in position to deal with this, however. If they move forward a bit, they're going to get hit by the tanks, but they can force some of these units to head back. If he just drops like right there, that'd be such a 6th position. And Pure Legacy really being punished for his lack of anti-air here. Like, I feel like he could just drop right on top of... Yeah, just fucking drop on top of the tanks. Oh, I guess not. And these units are in such a good little nook. Another drop behind the mineral line here. Sinner actually just like getting an insane amount of value. Pure Legacy just not building enough anti-air to deal with these drops. He doesn't have enough turrets placed everywhere. His economy got set back in the early game by that really nice push by Sinner. And a huge Bioforce heading to this 3rd base should be able to clean up all these tanks and hit this base hard. It's gonna get no good spot, and GG's called. Sinner taking the series back. It's 1-1 now. In our best of 3. Alright, we're going to be loading into our third and final game here, of this series anyways, between Pure Legacy, spawning down here in the bottom right. Our Terran player from Alpha X in the top left in the blue, center. Some really nice bio play here in that last game from center. Was able to position Pure Legacy and really just abuse him for his lack of air. I think that was a really nice call from center to not go for that air control. I think he... I mean, like, it feels like he was able to just continually build... Oh, what the hell is center doing? But he was able to continually build on that Bioforce in the early game. And after he got so much damage done, I feel like he realized that going for Vikings would just slow down the game a lot. So he didn't need to fight for that air control. You know, he would just build so many bio units that it wouldn't matter. And Pure Legacy kind of realized that if he tried to fight for air control and Sinner did, he would ultimately lose, but the game would go on for a long time. So I feel like he tried to take a bit of a gamble. And didn't pay off. Sinner with his Maca racks here, I don't know. Trying to scare Pure Legacy. Pure Legacy has an SCV scheduled at all, so this is going to have no influence on the game whatsoever. Or I guess I always get a proxy 111 outside his own base. Odd. But whatever floats your goat. Yeah, it's definitely going to be full committal to the 111 here because he's not taking out of gas. At least it should. I feel like it should be. Because otherwise, like, why proxy this stuff? But maybe I'm just stupid and don't know anything. I feel like he taking the... He might have been concerned by the no SCV scud. I don't believe center scuttered at all. What is center looking for? Okay, so it's gonna be I don't even know what to call this build. It's just like this 111 build with a lot of Reapers and Hellions. Like, this is gonna look kind of like safe standard at first, but if Pure Legacy doesn't have the right response to this build, he can just get steamrolled here. This is a pretty powerful build, and it's definitely not an all-in. Can macro out of it pretty well. So he's gonna get boosted up into the main base here with this medevac. Will this Viking see it though? It's not really in the best position here, but there's a lot of Hellions out here from Pure Legacy. I think this is going to be held here. It's going to be quite the fight. Damn. And this puts Center in a pretty awkward position here. He's lost quite a lot of units. His map control is definitely gone. This third CC might make it up here for Center. But Pure Legacy definitely has a bit of an upper hand right now. And I'm not sure what Sinner's gonna do from this point. Looks like, yeah, definitely gonna be mech. Did he see if he's gonna get one? Oh. And Sinner's going for Cyclones of the... I don't even know what the upgrade's called. Cyclone damage ability, whatever. And I have a feeling this game is going to go on for quite a while. Or actually, it might not. I might be completely wrong. I'm not sure what is going to happen with this. Like, I don't know, I feel like with pushes like these, like, they shouldn't work, right? Like, but sometimes they just do, you know? Landed Viking versus landed Vikings here, but Pure Legacy does have the siege tank here. Oh, it just barely doesn't get killed by that Cyclone, and looks like I was completely wrong yet again. This game is going to end pretty shortly. GG's to Pure Legacy. It's going to advance on to the finals. So we will see Pure Legacy in our finals, and now we're gonna go into Starkiller versus Eggs, another mirror matchup. I've watched Eggs play before, but I can't recall anything he does in any matchup. Just waiting for Starkiller to ready up, and then we'll be into our game. Oh, they're just making their map order correct. Alright, so spine up here in the top left, we have a teal Starkiller. And on the right, we have a blue, it is Eggs. And Starkiller going for a 12 pool this game. How will eggs respond? Oops. So it looks like eggs is actually going for a hatch first here, so this can be pretty monk-esque, you know what I'm saying? I'll have to see what happens here. I don't know like anything really about ZVZ, so I think like you can hold a tall pool if you pull drones, but we'll have to see here. It's gonna be a while before we get Zerglings out. It might be a case of like you just have to cancel, but anyways, this map doesn't have a huge rush distance, so these Zerglings should be across pretty quickly, and I actually don't think that the one Ling will actually get seen. So that's kind of telling. We'll have to see what Eggs does as his response here. He's not going to be able to make Lings for another like 10 or 15 seconds here, I believe. Even bringing a drone with this. Is he going to build like a spine crawler? Because he's just continuing to make Lings behind us. Like, this is not stopping. He's going to make a spine crawler. Jesus Christ. So I feel like with this, it's going to be really hard to judge the right response for Eggs. No way that Queen comes out. Lings are finally on the way. Actually, it might. Those drones are getting a decent amount of damage done on that spine. Kind of surprised Darkler let that finish. It will kill one drone, so I guess it almost, like, in theory, trades one drone for one drone. It's a very expensive drone versus one drone, but Eggs held that pretty well, and they're literally at the exactly even drone count at the moment. Of course, behind this, Eggs doesn't know what Starkiller is going to follow this up with, so this can be a bit of a scary moment here for Eggs, I believe. I definitely am a bit surprised by how little damage Eggs took. I thought for sure that base would go down, but I mean, I don't really know anything, do I? And now Eggs definitely has a bit of an edge here. His speed is going to be way faster than Starkiller's. I don't believe Starkiller has any gas yet. Starkiller just producing only queens, which of course pretty good versus Lings. But you need a lot of them and a good position. It's getting a spawn crawler out here too, but I feel like this hold's going to be very tough. A lot of Lings here on the way for Eggs. Speed almost finished. But we will have 4 queens out in total here for Starkiller. Really nice control here with these Lings, just picking off a couple of drones. And he sees all the other Lings heading across the map, and he's just going to head up into the main and get a good position on the ramp, which I think is a great call here for Starkiller. Actually, pushes down just enough to save the spine temporarily and give it an inject. Holds a good position on the ramp. The spine is doing incredible work versus these Lings. And a really great hold from Starkiller as well. Behind us, we do see Eggs droning up. I don't think he's going to be able to get into the main. Really sick position here from Starkiller. He's supply blocked big time, though. Still at 44. No Overlords in sight. Okay, finally one on the way. But behind us we got a third base here from Eggs, and Starkiller, I believe, had just started mining gas. Meanwhile, his opponent's getting out a Roach Warren. Whatever follow-up Eggs goes for here could be really scary for Starkiller to deal with. I kind of hope Starkiller just skips Ling speed and goes straight into Roaches as well. I just feel like by the time he gets speed out, his opponent's going to have a sizable amount of roaches. And even really nice job by Eggs to limit the amount of Zerglings out on the map. Killing off all those slowlings from Starkiller. Starkiller is really not going to get any information here about what his opponent's doing. Starkiller has a wall off here. He's getting a roach warren of his own and a lot of queens. So he has that going for him. So he will have a pretty good defensive position. But I'm just not sure if it's going to be enough versus whatever comes out of Eggs here. It's getting out a pretty sizable amount of roaches. At the very least, he's definitely going to be able to deny this third base. I don't... There's no way in hell Skylar... Or, sorry, not Skylar. Starkiller gets out enough to defend this. Pretty sizable amount of roaches here on the way. No upgrades for them just yet from Eggs. I don't know if he has an Evo Chamber anywhere. Does not. Which I think is a good call. Like, I think you can definitely, in Eggs' position, devote a lot of your resources here to just trying to finish this. And he could even catch out these queens here, which I feel like would be really great. He's gonna hop on top of the Eggs here. Just gonna kill Starkiller's roaches as they spawn. And I think that's probably gonna be it for our first game here. Eggs just has a really dominating position at the moment. And not enough units here to deal with this. Despite the nice holds we've seen earlier, just going for that 12 pool, not being able to get out enough gas versus an opponent who holds the 12 pool really well, it's just not going to be enough. Eggs going to take game number 1. Alright, we're going to be heading into our second game now. Spawn up here in the top left, we have a teal Zerg player from Alpha X. It is Starkiller. And in the bottom right, it is Eggs. Is Eggs teamless at the moment? If he is, someone should definitely pick him up. He's a pretty good Zerg player. Plays in a lot of stuff on NA as well. I see him in like most of the cups I've ever cast. And I'm not sure what this build is here from Starkiller. 14, or it's like a 15 hatch, 14 pool. I'm not sure what this is. What this is all about, you know? Maybe some type of like speedling all-in, like you get a lot of larva earlier. I'm not sure. There probably won't be speedlings, it'd probably be slowlings, really. Because it's not getting any gas. So I don't think Eggs is really gonna... Or he'll probably see the creep and realize, right? Like... Yeah, I guess he'll see the links first anyways, so... And it's just a bit, you know, quick with the links here. Or quicker, rather. Still drones in the way though, so doesn't look like it's going to be an all-in yet. A lot of gas has been taken. Yeah, I really don't know what this build is for. Just for fun, I guess, you know? Is this a red herring here with the Evo Trimmer? No, he only has the one gas. He's not going to be just... Probably. Taking another. I was just thinking, like, what if he builds... No, he's got for roaches. Never mind. That idea is not worth talking about even further. Meanwhile, let's see what Starkle's up to. Getting some Evo Chambers. Roach Warren's probably going to be coming out soon. He has a higher drone count than his opponent. Maybe due to the earlier hatchery? I'm not sure. Like, maybe going for that strat's like bad in the short term economically, but better in the long run? I'm not sure. I don't know. Or maybe Eggs just isn't making as many drones as it could be. Because he did get a layer out very early on 2 bases here. I'm not sure what this layer is going to be used for. He doesn't have the gas for... Oh, Nidus. Okay. Nidus. Roach Warren coming up behind the mineral lines here. Starkler going up to 4 gases. Getting out a layer of his own. With 4 gases, he definitely could... fuck, I don't know what he's going to do. I don't want to make bad calls. Probably just gonna get a lot of roaches, you know? That's a good call. First Nidus up here from Eggs. Skylar has vision of that. He's getting a couple spine crawlers, which I think can be pretty good. It's important with builds like this to, like the static D I think can help you a lot. I'm not sure if it's going to be up in time to matter, however. So you see this force here knocking on the door of Starkiller. Not a whole lot of units here from Exo, so it will take some time for him to bust down. Is here. More roaches on the way. But Starkiller with this defensive position and these spines coming up might be able to hold. It's going to be close. Drones are off the line now. And more roaches on the way. Now Starkiller does have a pretty big drone advantage, so he was fine losing a couple of them there. He's still ahead. And that defensive position was just really, really nice. It forced the roaches to kind of bottleneck there, and I feel like they couldn't get off the full amount of damage that they could potentially do. Behind this, I'm not sure what he's going to go for here. He's really behind in upgrades now, too, to mention. 1-1 to 0-0. This is not great for Eggs. Third base is coming up around a similar time. It looks like Eggs maybe just gonna continue tinnitus. I guess this can be a good way to keep Starkiller at home, but it is somewhat expensive. What are Nidus worms, like 50-50 or something? you know? That adds up over time. And Starkler going to be a bit proactive here, and he's actually going to search out some of these overlords. It's going to shut down this ability to even throw down the Niduses. And Egg's in a unfortunate spot to get supply blocked for a moment there. Definitely doesn't want to be rebuilding his overlords if he can. And Starkiller probably going to try to press disadvantage here as 2-2 is on the way. He'll have a really big advantage with that because he's going to be 2-2 to his opponent's +1. And he has a superior roach count. He's going to lose a couple roaches there for free, but still keeping a very superior number. He's going to pick up some more overlords too. Not great for Eggs. The supplies have evened up, but Starkiller's roaches are significantly stronger than Eggs at the moment. Picks off another overlord. And now I think is really the time to strike here. He has the unit count here. He has the upgrades. I think Starkiller can close this out. Alright, big fight coming in here. Both players are going to kind of shuffle around. Isle's even hitting on that army. This is a really good spot for Starkiller to threaten. He can pick off this Roach Warren if he chooses to. He can cancel the upgrades for his opponent as well. And that Roach Warren going down is really bad news for Eggs. It means he can't build any more roaches. And I don't think Lings are going to cut it. I don't even know if he has speed. Nope, no speed. Slow Lings are not going to be good versus this. And Starkiller, I think, is just going to continue to press his advantage here into a victory. And that should tie up our game. It's going to be 1-1. GG, Starkiller taking back his win. Right, so we're loading into our third game here between these two, and the final game of this series to see who goes on to play against Pure Legacy in the finals. Alright, spawning down here in the bottom left, we have the winner of our last game. It is Starkiller. And up here in the top right, we have our blue Zerg. It is Eggs. What is Starkiller going for that build again? Looks like he is. I swear, Starkiller's the only person I've ever seen do this build. I mean, I don't watch a lot of ZVZs, granted, so maybe I just coincidentally have not seen this build often. This time he's going to take a gas earlier on. I don't recall if he took the gases as early last game. I think he went gasless for a bit. Anyways, Eggs is doing... I was so focused on Starkler, I completely neglected the fact that Eggs is going for pool first. Off of, I think this is a 12 pool. I don't know how I missed stuff like this. Brain bad, haha. So anyways, I'm not sure how this is gonna go. Starkler is able to produce lings of his own here, and he has speed on the way. 8 lings are coming out here, and this base is finished. Starkler actually opted to build lings over queens, which I think is interesting. And he actually currently has a small... Oh, no. Eggs has a small edge here, and they're going to take a little skirmish out here. And Starkler's going to have his speed quite a lot earlier than Eggs does. So this can be pretty scary for Eggs once this happens. Starkler can just run right by him, he can take favorable fights. And behind this, we do see more and more lings here from Eggs, so he's not joining behind us. Starkler is on a pretty low drone count himself. It's really just going to come down to this ling micro, and I think Starkler is going to get a pretty big edge once his speed finishes and he's able to take favorable engages. Yeah, speed is now done. Starkler able to take the fights when he wants to. Starkler gonna run right in here. His reinforcement power is very strong as well. Lings come down here from the main to fight versus Starkiller, but Starkiller is able to just pounce right on top of him. It looks like Eggs will be able to hold on as he has the superior units for now, but reinforcements are pretty quick here from Starkiller. He can reinforce very quickly across the map, and he should be able to take out this hatchery. If not, go into the main and do what he wants. There's no Baneliness either, so it's just a pure numbers game, really. Luckily for Exo, he does have the superior reinforcement count, obviously. A couple of these lings were kept at home from Starkiller. He has droned up a decent amount, though, so he does have a bit of an economic lead, whereas Eggs has just continued to only make lings. And Eggs is actually going into a Baneley nest as well, so he really wants to put on the pressure here. And Starkiller, of course, is really unaware of the situation as far as the econs go. Like, I'm pretty sure he knows that his opponent hasn't made as many drones, but they don't know how many. And behind this, like, Eggs could be joining up. He doesn't know. Both players just gonna run around each other. This looks to be, I think, in Starkiller's... I'm not sure. I think this is probably going to be Starkiller's favor overall, unless he takes some really big Baneling hits. Because these queens are going to be so cost efficient, and ling reinforcements are on the way. So it looks like Starkiller will actually keep his entire drone line alive, whereas Starkiller has killed the natural of Eggs here. And really smart of him to not try to fight up in the main where those Banelings are. Because now his opponent really has no, like, favorability at this point. Like, there's no... Aside from the Banelings, he doesn't have any edge. Starkiller being really smart, sending in a couple of these lings at a time. Even if these Banelings get decent trades, like, Eggs' supply is just so low. That's going to be it. Starkiller going to move on to our finals. Alright, so just wait for Starkiller and Pure Legacy to veto some maps, and I'll be right back. Alright, so we're loading into our first game here between Starkiller and Pure Legacy. Going to be on Zen. It's going to be a best of 5. Spawning down here in the bottom left in the teal. It is Starkiller. And in the top right, we have the orange. It's Pure Legacy. Starkiller going for a 12 pool this game. Very interesting. I wonder if it's going to be a 12 pool like Ling Bane all in off one base, or if it's going to be the that one base Roach build. I'm not quite sure how those builds look like. Like I obviously I've been on the receiving end of those before, but I don't know what they look like from a Zerg perspective. Meanwhile, we got Pure Legacy just going for, looks like just a gas spand here. Nothing too crazy from Pure Legacy anyways. One thing we did not see actually is an SCV skip from Pure Legacy. I find it very interesting. I think, oh, so it's just going to be a late SCV skip. My bad. Yeah, I think a lot of people, to be very safe, will skate at 17. But what Pure Legacy is doing at 19 scout is also acceptable. Like, you're going to see things a bit later, but it's still in time to move your CC. You know, by the time he gets there, he'll see like, oh, like, you know. I actually did, this might fool him for a minute. CC is built on the low ground, and these lings are closing in fast. Once he gets up here though and sees that the pool is done, he's going to be pretty concerned. Of course, Reaper will be out soon. There's no speed here. So this Reaper should be able to infinitely fight these Zerglings. Nice job of Starkiller actually to split a couple of those off and go into the main. It's going to force attention from a lot of places here from Pure Legacy. And he's getting quite a lot of SCVs of this, actually. It's going to delay that factory for a while as well, which, behind this, I believe Starkiller's just going to keep joining up. Really nice, like, this is an insane amount of damage from Starkiller. He's killed almost an SCV for every lane, and none of those had speed. Really nice job from Pure Legacy. And the CC has been delayed so long, so is that factory. And third base is down here for Starkiller, and that Reaper hasn't got across the map. In a sense, it's lucky for Pure Legacy that Starkiller is going to play this macro game, but not a lot he can do about it. No lings at home to really fight this Reaper off, so it will escape. There's a Roach Warren going down here. Is this going to be a timing attack here to follow this up? I think this can be very strong, especially with the start that Pure Legacy's had. If he was able to kill that Reaper, I feel like it would put him in such a good spot. Pure Legacy is going for mech behind this, though. We do see 2 factories actually being produced right away over a 3rd CC. So this could be pretty solid to defend against this, whatever Roach attack this is going to be. And a couple of drones actually going down. Very unfortunate for Starkiller. He's going to lose even more here in the main. More Hellions running into the natural, getting a lot of kills here. This is not very good news for Starkiller. He is going for an all-in, and I feel like when you go for all-ins like this as Zerg, you go to a very specific amount of drones. You know, like, and to lose so many of them, it's going to delay the reinforcements for this push for quite a while. And Pure Legacy, he knows what's coming. He's moving the barracks into a good position. He has a depot wall up now. He has a tank in position, and he's building more. He realizes that it's going to be a roach pressure. This tank's actually pretty close. Could that get piled down by some Ravagers? We're not going to have a whole lot of them, so I don't think it's going to matter. Really nicely done, too, to actually send these across the map. I don't think these are really going to help out in the defense. So he's perfectly fine just sending these across the map, keep the reinforcements at home, and keep the drone count low. And there's a couple drones over at this third base here that he will be able to pick off. More on the rallied over here, so... And they're going to head right into the natural. There's not a lot of drones there to kill, actually, so they're going to be quite disappointed. But meanwhile, we have a attack here from Starkiller. He was able to pick off that tank a bit too far forward, I feel. And he will be able to pick off these supply depots and start gunning down these SCVs. But I think Starkiller needs a little more than this. Those Hellions have been cleaned up back at the base. He's going to get a lot more of these SCVs here, and he's going to force Pure Legacy off of the low ground. I don't think he will be able to get up into the main with these roaches anyways. And the game's back into a spot that, while I feel like it's definitely Starkiller favored, Pure Legacy still has a shot. It's going to be tough though without a third CC. I don't know how he's going to get his SCV count up in time, really. Hopefully, from Pure Legacy's perspective, I feel like he really needs to get some damage done with these units out on the map. Pure Legacy is going to head over here and probably hope that Starkiller is being a bit too greedy, getting too many drones. And that very well might be the case. We only have 5 roaches here on the map in total. And a couple of them are going to go down to these Cyclones. And if just a couple of Queens to fight this off, he might be in threat of losing quite a few drones here. Oh god, these drones lining up for Pure Legacy. He's going to get out some really nice shots with these Hellions. Going to lose a couple of these Queens here too. Ravagers coming in to support will force these units back. And Starkiller, he still maintains the lead. This pressure could keep mounting up here, however, as there isn't really enough units to completely stop this pressure. Like, he will lose some of these roaches and some of these Queens here to these Cyclones pretty consistently. We do have a lot of Lings out now, though, and that will force Starkiller to, or not Starkiller, sorry, Pure Legacy to back off. Big supply block here. And Link Speed does finish, and he gets a full surround on all these Cyclones. All of them getting taken out. That's a lot of wind out of the sails here for Pure Legacy. And this actually could be the start of a counterattack here. Starkiller going to take it to Pure Legacy side of the map again, which I think is a good idea. Like, once you get a big kill like that on all those units, sending these roaches across the map with these Lings can be a great way to cement your advantage here. Huge Ling run by coming up here. He doesn't get a surround, but he will get a wraparound on some of these units. And he's going to kill a lot of these SCVs overall. And regardless of what happens to these units, yeah, game 1 going to Starkiller. Really nicely done, like, all throughout that game. Just constant aggression, constant, like, split second decisions. Especially at the start with those 6 Lings from the 12 pool. He did such a good job just constantly keeping them moving and doing damage, and Pure Legacy just couldn't keep up with the amount of actions required to keep those SCVs alive. Alright, So, spawning up here in the top right, we have in the orange, it is our Terran player, Pure Legacy. And in the bottom left, the winner of our last game, it is our Zerg from Alpha X, Starkiller. Starkiller really a tyrant in all these online cups. Pure Legacy is still kind of getting back into the game. He did take a break for quite a while, I believe. So, and I really feel like Pure Legacy never really dominated the tournament scene online as well, or as well as he's dominated like the ladder. So I think players like Starkiller will have a pretty big advantage playing against someone like Pure Legacy, especially because Pure Legacy plays in such a like consistent way. Like you never really see Pure Legacy going for like cheese builds or all-ins that often. He really tends to just play like a straight-up game, and someone like Starkiller can really take advantage of that. This game's looking a bit more straight up than the last ones have. I think it was a hatch first. So Pure Legacy just going to park that SCV by the third. It's pretty common in typical TVZ. Now, like I see Pure Legacy go for mech in TVZ quite a lot. I can't recall ever seeing him play bio, so I'll probably just see him consistently going for, you know, like the Carmack type of style. Starfield going for a pretty quick lair this game, actually. Reaper has scouted. I believe the Reaper scouted the lair. Oh, no, it didn't. But he does see the lack of a third base. So he probably realized that there's something up. What it could be, I'm not quite sure. He's going for 4 gases, so very likely could be 2 base meta. I'm not sure how well that's going to do. I don't know how... Like, I feel like 2 base muted versus, like, the type of mech style that Pure Legacy plays isn't going to be that... like, theoretically, isn't that strong, right? Like... It's just, like... The Cyclones can do so much damage versus the Mutalisks. It does keep the Terran player home. But... I don't know. We'll have to see how this plays out. Especially, like the way Pure Legacy has been playing with the 2 factory and armory here. His cyclone count is actually pretty low. He doesn't go for 3 factories right away. So I think this works better versus like a more standard Zerg style because you can put on a lot of pressure early on, and I think that's something Pure Legacy really likes doing. But I feel like that's gonna bite him in the butt here when it comes to these Mutalisks, because he'll have like 2, maybe 3 Cyclones out. when there's going to be 8-9 Mutalisks in his base. He can't lock on to them all, and Starkiller, sorry, can just pull them back, the targeted ones back if with some good micro. Those look like we do have some turrets coming up. I believe he kind of, yeah, he has seen the Mutas. But he will get a couple of drone kills here too. Really nice move from Starkiller. Or from Pure Legacy, Jesus Christ. I'm just gonna keep messing up my words. A lot more turrets on the way. But this is a lot of resources here to commit to, and you know, Starkiller has a third base. He can drone up behind this. He's not all in on the Mutalisks here. Pretty big flock of them moving in here, and 2 Thors on the way as well. So this air control is really going to be on lockdown here from Pure Legacy. Starkiller will have the ability to pressure on the map, and it's definitely going to delay Pure Legacy from taking any additional bases. He'll get map control, he'll be aware of what's going on, but he can never really get that much damage done with the amount of turrets and Thors that are out now. But luckily for Starkiller, it has, as we said, like, it's given him map control, and I feel like behind this, he can kind of feel free to just, like, be as greedy as he wants. He can probably take, you know, some more bases. He can get his drone count up. He's getting a lot of Zerglings and Mitas though, so he might be scared of a push here. Especially because it has been quite a while since, in between Pure Legacy getting that base and him taking it. So he might just feel a bit threatened by the fact that it's taken him so long. Because 2-base pushes can be pretty deadly if you're a Mutalisk player. Pure Legacy scans the natural. He doesn't really get much information there. I don't think he's seen any units popping. Starkiller has a lot of Mutas and a lot of Lings, and his opponent has the 2 units that counter that. I don't think this is going to go well for him. It's a lot of Mutas in the air, but a lot of Cyclones, a lot of turrets, and a lot of Thors here, but it might not be enough here. And Starkiller actually looking like, with that daring move, is able to maybe pull this off. He's killed a lot of SCVs. I think it's important to note here that Starkiller's on a pretty low drone count himself. Starkiller has really sacrificed a lot to make this push work. And Pure Legacy, even though he's kind of like, he's lost a lot of SCVs, he's still pretty even. He might not be aware of that, however. I don't think he's really gotten much map vision across the map. He's only scanned a natural. These Hellions will be his first information that he gets. And Starkiller looks like he's just going to keep trying to push his advantage here and try to keep Pure Legacy, off of third base for as long as he can. These Hellbats are coming to the third base and are getting quite a lot of kills here. A lot of drones went down. Pure Legacy actually now maintains a lead in workers. Now, it'll be interesting to see how Starkiller reacts to this situation. I think this is a situation where Starkiller really just needs to try to drone up and get into a better position. I don't think he can finish Pure Legacy off with these Mitas. He can probably pick off a lot of units, especially because he's reset so much of the anti-air. But he's going to have to be careful. If he loses too many units, there's a very real chance that Pure Legacy can come across the map and punish him. Or just take advantage of the multitasking that Starkiller is required to do here and send some Hellions in. scan comes down. You will see the Evo doing a little rumble here. Sees it's on upgrade mode or whatever. A lot of Hellbats coming in here. Could get quite a lot of drone kills at this base. It's like 9 drones here. All of them gonna get roasted, and this queen probably gonna get picked off. Minos will come in to try to deal with this, but I don't think they're gonna be able to output enough damage before these Hellions get a couple more kills. And behind this Starkiller realizing, like, I just need to keep droning up. 10 more drones on the way. Ling Me the Bane versus Mech is so odd to me. I'm not sure how well this is going to work, but I think Starkiller has kind of put himself in a decent spot. He's going to try to pick off some of these turrets. Repair come down is going to save that one for a while. Will go down eventually, but there's 4s here. 9 SCVs go down is pretty good for him. Pure Legacy has not managed to keep up in the economic game here. I think those Hellions didn't do as much damage as he was hoping for. As we do see Starkiller already up at 90 drones. So I think even though this Ling Me the Bane style might not be as efficient versus Mech, with the economy that Starkiller has given himself in this game, it might be fine, but 4s are pretty strong right now. I'll have to see how this goes. A lot of links here. They do have +1/+1, but +2 and +1 armor on this mech army. And +2 armor is about to finish. Bane speed is done. Got whatever the hell that upgrade is called. Fast claws for Zerglings. Behind this Pure Legacy taking the 4th base. So he's doing a really good job just taking the low-hanging fruit here. He's just gonna kill a couple of these bases on the sides. And then see what he can get. A lot of these Banelings are coming in here. Mita's trying to dive on top of these 4s, but not gonna work out. And a lot of Starkiller's army has gone down for not a lot of value. And there's still a whole bunch of 4s standing here. Yeah, I don't think Starkiller has enough. Oh, well, that's very loud. Thanks for the host, Endless. I should really turn that down later. But these 4s are just in such a dominant position in this game. Starkiller just doesn't have enough money to really go into a tech that can deal with them cost effectively. He's lost a lot of bases. He has a huge drone count, but, like, you know, where are all these drones? Yeah, 48 out of 8. Not being as efficient as he can. And even though Pure Legacy's economy hasn't really been doing the greatest, you know, Starkiller's just been investing in inefficient tech. And he might have had a chance to push his advantage there with those Banelings if they all connected on the clump of 4s or something. But with +2 armor, it's just going to be so hard for any of these Lings and Banelings to do damage versus the 4s. Like, the Banelings are just not going to be cost efficient versus these mech units. And Pure Legacy really just containing him here almost with these 4s. Just going to keep running around and killing bases. And he's not going to really commit to any bad fights if he doesn't have to. Alright, huge surround coming in here. A couple of these Banelings going off on the 4s. They are going to use Viper Cloud ability, but no, these 4s still survive. And that's going to be it for game number 2. Pure Legacy going to tie it up. How do I turn down the volume of oh. Alright, maybe that'll be fun. So we're going to be going into our 3rd game here of this best of 5. Alright, so this one's gonna be on Simulacrum. So we got our orange Terran here in the bottom right, spawning in the orange. Pure Legacy. And up here in the top left in the teal, that is Starkiller. Going for another 12 pool. It will be interesting to see how Pure Legacy responds to this. I feel like his response was overall fine. I think the only issue was that he wasn't scouting quick enough. Like, I think a 19 scout it just isn't going to see what you need to see to deal with a 12 pool quick enough. And it looks like we're going to see a 19 scout again from him if he SCV scouts. And I think that's going to be bad news for him. It's very likely that a similar situation as the first game happens. Starkiller might be able to get a lot of damage done here. We'll have to see how he reacts. I think it's very much to a situation where Pure Legacy, if he can micromanage that situation really well, he can lose very little. But Starkiller in the first game, when this happened, he did a really good job. Like, his Lings came in, the CC was building, they attacked the CC, and then as soon as the Reaper started attacking them, he split them off. Like, 2 Lings attacked the worker that was building the CC, he ran up into the main with the rest, he attacked the SCV building the factory, and they sent some into the mineral line. And it was just like, he split them all off so well to force to force Pure Legacy to have to react to 3 situations happening at the same time. This game, it looks like he will lose that SCV, but I think this Reaper is going to be fine. He really decides to target down this command center. I don't think he's not going to get it though, I don't think. So this game really, it might just be the rush distance is a bit longer on this map. Wasn't able to get there as quickly. But Pure Legacy dealt with that pretty well. And overall, like, for 2 SCVs, was perfectly acceptable to lose in Pure Legacy's position here. But 12 pools is of course a macro build. And but now it's kind of in Pure Legacy's court to get some damage done. You know? Starkiller is really not going to feel apt to make Lings after a failed 12 pool here. I didn't even realize you could get up from there. But Pure Legacy, he didn't get any drone kills there. But he did get a full skid off of the main. So he definitely knows what's it like potential to happen here. Oops. And Pure Legacy going for the same build again, this double factory build. He really seems to like this. He delays the 3rd CC to get a 2nd factory, and puts on a lot more pressure in the early game. It seems to work out for him quite well in most cases. But it can delay your economy quite a bit here. And this game looks like Starkiller going for some sort of roach build. Got some pretty good wall off here. And this is going to be really good because it's going to pretty much shut down the entirety of what Pure Legacy is trying to do here in the early game with this double factory play. And we can kind of see that here responded to rather by Pure Legacy. He sees like, okay, there's a wall here, I can't get in. I'm just going to make siege shanks, especially because he's seen the Roach Warren. He knows his opponent's on 2 bases. Very likely we will see a Nidus coming up, I feel. If not, it's probably just going to be some sort of ground-based Roach timing. And either way, the siege shanks are going to be extremely helpful for this. These Reapers, or not Reapers, sorry, Hellions, are just going to stay out on the map here and just keep on the pressure and find out when that 3rd base ever goes down. The lair is almost done here for Starkiller, so we'll see if he goes for a Nidus or not. He could just be getting it for roach speed. Layer is done, speed is on the way. Now, I guess I personally feel like since he got speed, it is less likely that he gets a Nidus now. Just because, like, if you're gonna get the Nidus, like, why would you need the speed? You could just spend that money on more roaches. Picks off a couple Hellions here. This can be pretty scary, I feel like, for Star Killer, though. Like, when you're doing a 2-base build like this, the fact that Pure Legacy has seen what's on the map for so long means that Pure Legacy is very well aware of the potential of what's to happen here. He even sees the roaches heading across the map with his barracks. And Siege Shanks are in a pretty good position here on the way. I'm going to get a couple really nice shots off there. And Star Killer is going to be forced back. And now these Hellions are just going to head across the map. They're going to try to force their way in somewhere. There's a wall off here, of course, so it's going to be hard for them to get into the natural, but they can force the units to come home and defend this third base. And we still, there's no Nidus yet. Hydralisk Den? So he has a Hydra Den now. I'm not sure what we're going to see. I think Star Killer is going to be in for a rough game. He's committed so much of his money to getting out these roaches. Oh, bad move, Commander. Right, he's going to come in here and he's going to try to trade out a bit. It looks like he might get a couple of these Siege Shanks, and reinforcement roaches actually on the way. Your Legacy not taking this roach threat that seriously. Gets out a couple of Cyclones instead of tanks, and I feel like that really hurt him there. And these roaches are actually going to get into the natural here now before these tanks are even able to siege up. Pure Legacy's tanks getting jumped right on top of a couple of these roaches taking out these tanks. He needs to target that down. And insane amount of value here for these roaches. It will get cleaned up eventually, or will it? Just kidding. Yeah, that roach goes down. But there's more roaches on the way. I think with the tanks that he has out now, he should be fine to hold on. But only on the 2 bases. I think he's going to need to lift this third. I actually see more and more roaches on the way. I don't know why he has the Hydra Den. I feel like it's a waste of resources. And looks like Star Killer is just going to continue to head in here, and he's just going to keep trading at these roaches. If he keeps getting good trades, like, just keep coming back. His opponent's economy is pretty much shattered, and it's going to be it for game number 3. Star Killer going to take a lead, 2-1. Just waiting for them to start game number 3 here. Or game number 4, rather. We're going to be playing on Ephemeron, which I think is a pretty good map for mech. There's a lot of pretty defendable bases. I really want to see Pure Legacy just try to switch things up a bit here. Like, sorry, I feel like he's playing just way too predictable. Alright. So, starting us off in the top left, we have any orange. It is Pure Legacy. And bottom right in the teal, it is our Zerg player, Starkiller. Looks like he's going for this weird, like, 15 hatch build. I still don't understand, like, why Zergs do this. Can they please type it in chat? Because I'm at a loss. I don't understand, like, what is more beneficial about this, and for what reasons, than just doing, like, a 17 hatch. And again, pretty normal opening here from Pure Legacy. I'll have to wait and see what Starkiller is going to do. For Legacy, we'll head across the map and see the expand here. This has been a much more standard game than we were used to. Couple links on across the map here for Starkiller. So Reaper will come in here. I feel like we have yet to see Zerglings at home to deal with this Reaper. I feel like every game, like, this Reaper just gets to do whatever the hell it wants because there's no Zerglings to punish it. We'll get shut down though, after it gets the full scout off. It's unfortunate to not keep it alive, however, because it's not going to be able to scout for that third base. And again, the 2 factory opening here from Pure Legacy. Third base should be going down shortly here for Starkiller. But instead, he's going to get 2 Evo chambers. This will get scouted eventually by these Hellions coming up. And he's getting a lair and a Roach Warren right away. So it looks like a similar-ish build as the last game, except a much different opening. So Pure Legacy will see this. As we do see, he reacts again, getting a Siege Tank out. I hope he takes this a bit more seriously than last time. Because I really feel like last time he had a really great hold initially, but he just stopped producing as many tanks. And I can understand maybe, like, he was scared of, maybe he was scared of Mutalisks, or he just thought that it was just going to be a thing, and there was not going to be additional roaches following this up. But with Starkiller, you really need to take builds like that seriously, or else he will just roll over you with it. You know, I think he even skipped the Cyclone upgrade this game, so I feel like he's very confident that, like, I don't need to put on any pressure. I don't need Hellion Cyclone to do damage across the map, because Starkiller will come to my side of the map to try to do damage to me. I just need to defend. Huge amount of roaches on a production tab now. Probably going to keep seeing that for a while. Just going to bulk up and head out. I personally, I even am not sure about him holding the... Whoops. Like... We'll have to wait and see if this is going to be holdable. But I feel like this is very greedy from Pure Legacy to try to hold this third base location versus such a dedicated pressure. Even sending the Hellions across the map like he is, I feel like is very... Oops. Is just very greedy. He could make these into Hellbats in a minute here. He could just use them to tank. He only has 3 tanks. If Starkiller were to wait for a bit more roaches and come up for a surround, he could get a really good position on these tanks. However, doesn't look like it's going to be... They have a pretty good position here. Actually, doesn't even kill that one tank. Uses all the roaches for nothing here. So it looks like Pure Legacy is able to hold this position. We do see a lot more roaches on the production tab still, however, interspersed with a bit of drones here and there. So nothing all in. Behind us, we have some Cyclones finally coming out here from Pure Legacy, which I think is pretty smart. Now he realizes, like, okay, like, I did so well holding that pressure at the start here. This position is a lot better than I was expecting, honestly. But Pure Legacy knows more than me. Got a Roach Hydra coming out here from Starkiller. He's going to send these Hellions across the map and just try to be as aggressive as he can. Just try to see what's up. See if, is my opponent still building roaches? Do I have to worry about, you know, just like a roach timing again? Because that's kind of what happened in the last game. Just Pure Legacy got a decent fight initially, but then, you know, a follow-up killed him. These Hellions are actually almost able to get some good trades with his Hydras, but Queen's coming at the last moment to save them. Now Pure Legacy's in a pretty decent spot. Even ahead on workers. 4th base on the way for Pure Legacy. Same with Starkiller though. We'll have to see how this transpires into a later game. Starkiller is really not the most solid late game player. He tends to rely much more on his lower tech units. Like, he's just gonna go like Roach Hydra Viper versus whatever is coming, and he's just gonna keep building that. But as the game continues to go longer and longer, it's gonna continue to get better and better for Pure Legacy. So unless Starkiller can find a way to take really good fights, I think he's going to have a hard time going into this late game, especially in a game where his Roach attack failed. His economy is, you know, pretty even with Pure Legacies, which is not good for the Zerg. So how do you go about this? How do you put yourself into a winning position here? Now we see Pure Legacy getting some pretty good trades here with these Cyclones, picking off a couple Hydras here and there. Big sip from the Vipers here. A couple of these Hellions getting picked off. Starkiller is being very proactive and just trying to hold these ramps against Pure Legacy. Because, of course, if he can just hold the ramps, it really stops a lot of the potential here from these Cyclones. A lot of factories up here from Pure Legacy. He did commit a lot of his build time to that Cyclone Hellion. And realistically, it wasn't really able to accomplish a whole lot. A really nice spread on these tanks, however. Got a big fight coming in here. Starkiller going to try to push his way up this ramp. Blinding Clouds are going down on the first couple of tanks, but tanks are split here. More behind them and more coming in to reinforce. Even coming in for the flank. Pure Legacy looks like he should be able to hold here. These tanks on the low ground actually helping out quite a bit. Killing off quite a lot of Hydralisks. But more and more Hydras are on the way. Starkiller he didn't accomplish a huge amount with that, but maybe he can bring this to a victory here. Pure Legacy lost a lot of units with that. He had a good split on the tanks, but there just wasn't like, he didn't have enough meat to back it up. Like he didn't have Hellbats to tank more damage. His Hellions just kind of sat there in the front and got, you know, basically destroyed before the fight really began. But it looks like Starkiller will back off for now. 2-2's almost finished. Starkiller's going to send these Hellions in and try to get some drone kills. And trading these Hellions out, even for the Hydras, is a pretty good trade for pre-Legacy. But he did that. That is quite a lot of the Hellions to lose so quickly. You know, like as we said again, like he doesn't have a lot of beef here to back up the army. If Starkiller just heads right into the natural here, he could get such a good fight. Instead, he's choosing to fight at the third base here. He's going to pull all the tanks forward with the Vipers. There's no anti-air to deal with them, and that's just gonna. All the tanks are gone. 3 tanks at a time here for Pure Legacy. He's got a couple Hellions queued up here accidentally on some of these factories. And it looks like he will lose this base. Oh, this is going to be a slaughter for whoever goes up this ramp here. +2's finally finished for these mech units. Looks like Starkiller is just going to try to find, you know, some cute ways of getting some more value here. Pure Legacy sends out some scans. He's just trying to get a feeler of where he's at economically here. You know, losing that base over here and all the SCVs was a pretty big blow to his economy. He is going to replenish that. Hellions come in here and get some drone kills, which is really nice for him. But I feel like he can't just keep sacking so many Hellions. That's so much of his build time gone to harass that when the Hellions, when the Hydras come knocking at his door, he just doesn't have anything to really fight with. He's lucky that this has forced Starkiller back. Where are our Vipers? They are all full energy. They could get off some really nice blinding clouds here if they choose to. But this is a good arc here from Pure Legacy. A lot of tanks. Gonna get a lot of damage off on these Hydras. Huge engage here. Blinding clouds are going down. Tanks are getting pulled into the blinding clouds even. But with more tanks on the high ground here, there's still a couple blinding clouds available. And Starkiller just able to somehow find damage or find good trades in all these fights. There's just no fours here to deal with the Vipers in the air. And there's not enough, like, you know, there's not enough units here to just, like, accept getting blinding clouded. He's gonna lose some SCVs, but that's fine. It's gonna finally finish off this part, but reinforcement hydras are rolling in. He needs to siege up these tanks really quickly, or else he's gonna get destroyed here by this reinforcement. More and more tanks are coming out, but they're just trickling out and getting destroyed by these hydras. And it's very well looking like Starkiller could finish off this game here. He's gonna try to get this planetary, but he is building armor. And a lot of SCVs there to repair. He's coming back in, gonna try to focus it down. The Blinding Cloud could just, you know, stop this PF from killing so many of his hydras, but he will get it overall. And Pure Legacy kind of looks like he's tilting a bit here. A lot of these tanks running up here are in a really bad position. They're going to get caught out and killed. And that's going to be it. Starkiller completely dismantling Pure Legacy in this series. He's going to take a victory here, 3-1. So congrats to Starkiller for winning our SC2Online Community Open number 131. I'm going to go over a random name picker here to find our for the tournament. There's a random draw. Oh. So sorry. I will bring that up in just a second here. Jeez, I feel like he seems like he's not in a great mood. Oops. Okay. So, just gotta double check and make sure I got everyone that needs to be in here. Just got Pure Legacy, got Starkiller, got Eggs, got Sinner. Shalko is disqualified for forfeiting a match. Got Omega Star. Marsman is disqualified. Got White Shadows. We got Mapazy. Full Heart is disqualified for forfeiting. Got it. Anxiety. We got Zix Punk. Got Eternity and got Wooden Microbe. Okay, so we're gonna pick a random name here, and basically whoever wins this gets I think it's $10. So let's see who we get. I noticed you're using an ad blocker. The winner is Pure Legacy. Alright, so it looks like Pure Legacy will win our random draw here, and I believe he gets $10. So yeah, congrats. Thanks to all the players who played. Thanks to everyone who's watched. That's going to be it for me tonight. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great night.